What's up, everybody? It's Frank Major, the best in the business again, and probably going to be in your business. But today's not really a major thing. It is, but it isn't. It's not really an important video to things I normally do. What it is important is our First Amendment rights, the way that police officers conduct themselves. Now, let me educate you guys a little bit, okay? There is an unprecedented amount of police officers who twist and mold the Constitution and the rights and and liberties of the people to fit their needs. In other words, they might pull you over and twist the rule just a tad bit to get you to do things that you really don't have to do. I'll give you a great example. If you're walking down the street, okay, they might pull up on you and say, "Hey, let me see your ID." Well, no, it should be your answer. It doesn't matter that you have no criminal record. You may be the biggest criminal in the world. And in that case, you definitely don't want to show your ID. But the proper response should always be no, and let me tell you why. For one, you don't have to. The only time that you're required to show identification or ID yourself in general to any police official is during the commission of a crime, when you're under suspicion of committing a crime, or you're about to commit a crime. That's it. They cannot say, "I need to ID you for this reason or that reason," other than those three circumstances. Now, reasonable suspicion, okay, and that is, like I said, cannot be deemed necessary or constitutionally enough for them to detain you. That means they can't say, "Okay, well, I'm going to detain you because you're suspicious or you're under suspicion." That is constitutionally wrong. They do not have the right to detain you, period, unless you're suspected of already committed a crime, during the commission of a crime, or about to commit a crime. Period. Now, why it's important to know these things is because more often than not, the police get away with that. They get away with, "Hey, let me see this and that," and the next thing you know, they bait you into committing maybe a minor crime. And the problem with people that don't have any worries, in other words, don't have criminal histories or reasons to not want to show their ID, by giving them ID, the reason that's a problem is that you're saying it's okay for them to do it in general. Always say no. If you're in public, they work for you, number one. A police officer is the state, or there's a state trooper, county officer, whatever. They're paid by us. If you pay taxes, and I don't care if you go to the store and pay taxes, if you pay taxes, you pay that salary. In other words, they work for you. Period. You're their boss. The cards they ride in, the boots they wear, the uniforms they have on, the sidearms they carry to shoot unarmed black men are paid for by you. So, having said that, it is up to you to make sure that they use that in a constitutionally lawful manner. That is not up to that officer to decide when that is. It's up to you. This is a country made for, by the people, for the people, and because of people. Not for the police. In fact, the police started out as one of the biggest gangs, street gangs in America. In fact, they are the biggest street gang in America, or worldwide in general. And we need to stop them from abusing their rights to protect our liberties, because it is their right to be a citizen. It is not their right, however, to make citizen laws. They are to enforce the laws that us as citizens make, not the other way around. Now, I'm trying to think of something else while I'm on here that can educate you. It is not unlawful to videotape in public. You can pull out your phone on any public street. You can walk into any public area and film anything that you can see. Your eyes, if you can see it, you can film it. That means that they cannot deem your eyes as trespassing. They cannot trespass your eyes. That means they can't say, you're going to be trespassed from this area if you don't stop filming. That is against the Constitution. The First Amendment right states that if I can see it, I can film it, as long as you're in public. Now, if you're on private property, that's a different situation. Whole different set of rules, guidelines, etc., etc. Now, the one thing people generally run into is policy versus laws. Okay, now, you might go to a hospital. It's a general hospital, which means the community hospital, it's public property. However, you cannot film inside. That means there's a reasonable expectation that inside there is confidential information, patient information, that they don't want the public to see. However, outside, anything that your eyes can see, you can film. Now, you might have a security officer walk up to you and say, it's against hospital policy. That's your policy. Your policies do not trump the Supreme Court. Supreme Court stated that reasonable suspicion is not enough to detain. It states that photography is protected by the First Amendment. If you're in public, there is no reasonable expectation of privacy. That means I do not have to ask anybody walking down the street for permission to put them on film. They can come up to me and say, hey, man, can you make sure you don't film me, man? I'd really look, man, I'm out here fucking this girl that my wife don't know about. Excuse my language. I don't want her to find out. Please don't film me. Well, then I might take that in consideration and not film. Maybe I don't want to get my jaw broke by some big-ass dude who says, look, bro, you're going to film me, I'm going to knock your little ass out. Well, maybe I feel hilarious that day and I want to fight. The problem is that, and it's his problem, not mine, is that there's no reasonable expectation of privacy when you're in a public area. So if you're walking down the street and my camera's on, if I want to fucking point it that way and you're in my way, you're going to get filmed, whether you like it or not. There's not a damn thing a police officer can do about it. There's not a damn thing they can do to detain you. In fact, if they were to detain you, the first thing you need to do, the very first thing, badge number and name. Okay, a lot of times they'll point to their ID thing or whatever. Then they're going to ask you, I gave you my information, now give me yours. You're a public servant. Remember that word, servant, okay? Which means you serve in a public official capacity, which means that you cannot use your public official capacity to break public laws. Now, you have to ID yourself if you're a public official. You have to. They can't say, I'm not going to give you that. Well, they can, but then just know that they are violating the law. Now, they'll say a lot of times, well, I gave you my badge number and I gave you the name. Why can't you give me your ID or your information? Okay, well, give me yours. Let me see where you lay your head at night. Let me see your actual identification card issued by the state of Georgia or whatever state that you're in. And let me see where you lay your head at night. And they're all going to say no. And you know why? Because just like you, they have a right to. They have a right to deny being ID'd. So, you do not ever have to give your identification. You do not ever even have to talk to them. The first thing that you should do, if you ever get detained, is say, hey, am I being detained? If they say yes, you say, under what law am I suspected of being breaking? What law have I violated or broken? If they say, we're trying to investigate that now to figure out what's going on, that's not how it works. You do not detain first and investigate after. You investigate first and then detain after. That's how the rules are. Please remember this. This is very important. And the more people that know their rights, the better off we're all going to be. There's countless times in my early 20s, teenage years, that I let my ass get myself thrown in jail because I didn't know my rights. I didn't know my laws. They're very important. I should have paid attention to school or whatever. The problem is that a lot of times, everybody in public gets used to allowing the police to do what they want to do. So, as a result, the police get to do what they want to do. We're not going to stop the unarmed shootings of black people, white people, or any people in general, or the bully or the tyrants that a lot of police officers are, who unfortunately give bad names to good cops. There are good cops out there. I'm sure there are. I personally don't know any, but there are. There have to be. Otherwise, we'd all be getting shot every day. So there has to be some cops out there that know the rules. Unfortunately, more often than not, the general public allows the police to have, there's a standard of letting the police, have that kind of authority, when in actuality, unless you're caught with your hand in the cookie jar, you're the one in authority. So again, this is Frank Major, best in the business. I was in your business, and it's your business to know this business. I'm out. Peace.